Black Ops 3 Zombies cut content? Let's go. So let's first start off with some of the more known cut content, and then we'll get into all the juicy stuff. Originally cut from Black Ops 3 and brought back in Black Ops 4 was zombie difficulties. We originally were going to have 3 different modes called Survivor, Hunter, and Exterminator. But unfortunately this was only in the pre-alpha phase and was eventually axed, but it seems like they did bring something very similar to this back for Black Ops 4. And also in Black Ops 3 Zombies, we were going to be able to do some customizations for our characters. Unlocked through gaining XPs, we were going to be able to change a lot of the outfits for our characters, which I think would have been pretty cool, but ultimately I'm kind of glad they cut. I don't really think they needed to waste their time on this because I know I would have never used it. The icons for the Primus crew are their Black Ops 2 renders, and the icons for the Shadows of Evil characters were taken from concept art. And the thing that I think is interesting about this is it doesn't seem like they had Nero's first name at this point, or maybe they just were actually going to go by his last name, because in this image he is just referred to as Blackstone, and I'm kind of glad they did change it to Nero eventually. Blackstone just doesn't really fit. I know that's his last name, but it just doesn't really, Nero just rolls off the tongue a lot better. Now there's also tons of cut gobblegum for Black Ops 3, and there's probably way more than the ones I'm about to give you, but these are just the ones I could find. We have Brainiac, Center of Attention, Firestarter, Melee Master, Toxic Vindicator, Private Eye, Fire and Forget, Power Trip, and Seasickness. And I think Seasickness might have been an earlier version of Projectile Vomiting. And a lot of these might have actually been remade into ones that we did eventually get throughout the course of the game, and some of them we may never ever see. Now, an earlier version of Liquid Divinium was called Let It Ride tokens, and this was in the pre-alpha phase, and you were able to earn these very similar to Liquid Divinium by just exploring zombie maps, and they were redeemable for Mega Chew Bubble Blast, which was the earlier version of Gobblegum, and my god, am I so glad they changed it, because Let It Ride tokens just sounds dumb as hell. I think of like Borderlands 2, and Mega Chew Bubble Blast is a mouthful. I'm so glad they decided to call it Gobblegums. I do not want to be like, hey guys, where's the Mega Chew Bubble Blast machine? That's just too much. There was also a cut perk that I really couldn't find much information about called Liquidity. That's all I got. I couldn't find anything else about it that was 100% accurate. A bunch of speculation and everything like that, but nothing concrete. There was also supposedly a cut alternate ammo called Honey Business, which seemed to be similar to the multiplayer Beast specialist weapon, but I really couldn't find much information about this. Now, similar to every other zombie game, there were tons of cut weapons. Now, these weapons weren't really cut from zombies as much as they were just from the regular game. So these could have been cut from the cut campaign or from multiplayer, and then maybe at some point in time they would have been in zombies, but since they were cut, we'll never get to see them. One of them is the M27, and to me, I think the M27 was just used as a base model for the ICR, and there's a lot of content carried over from Black Ops 2 because they tend to do that a lot. So you're going to see a lot of Black Ops 2 weapons on this list. But one of the more interesting cut weapons was the MCAS, which was a scrapped assault rifle with a hybrid mechanic, so you could swap between the assault rifle and the submachine gun. Now, I think this would have been a really cool weapon to pack a punch and play around with in zombies, but unfortunately, we'll never get it. There was also a gun called the Robot Gun, which was a scrapped assault rifle with a default pink texture and a KN-44 magazine, but this was cut very, very early in development. And like I said, we also have tons of Black Ops 2 weapons. We got the MP7, the Type 27, the SWAT 556, the FAL, the Remington 870, which could have been used for testing for the KRM, the Cap 40, lots of Black Ops 2 stuff. There was also a scrapped pistol called the Patriot, but other than that, couldn't really find much information about that. We also had a couple cut launchers, a lock-on rocket launcher called the Chaser, a regular rocket launcher called the SMAW, and also an EMP launcher, which I think would have been very interesting in zombies. I mean, hell, we had the EMP grenade, so why not have an EMP launcher? Let's see what we can do. And there's also an earlier version of the KN-44, but they eventually changed that to the KN-44. Now, Zombies has plenty of cut Easter eggs, and one of the more infamous ones is the Shadows of Evil Apothicon Servant upgrade quest. Originally, for like the first week or two, you technically could pack-a-punch this by using a glitch. So it was possible to pack-a-punch this, but they very, very quickly patched that out. And that left the community scrambling to find the Easter egg steps that were sadly not available in-game. But the cut Easter egg goes a little bit something like this. Once you get the Apothicon Servant, you're going to have to get 40 kills using it. And once you get 40 kills, you walk around the map, and the Apothicon Servant is going to kind of act like a sensor. And once you get next to one of the 15 random locations, the sensor is going to go off. And once you get close to one of the locations, the Apothicon Servant is kind of going to act like a metal detector, and you're going to walk around and try to find exactly where you need to go. And once you get to the desired location, you're going to see a prompt that's going to say hold button to hang cocoon, and you're going to hang the cocoon. And once you have hung the cocoon, all you have to do is progress to the next round. And once you do that, all you have to do is go up to the cocoon, open it, and you're going to be given your free upgraded Apothicon Servant. And the Apothicon Servant would have had a unique name for each of the characters in Shadows of Evil, so none of them would have had the same exact one. But unfortunately, this Easter egg was hidden away for God knows why. Also in Shadows of Evil, there was a cut Little Arnie Easter egg, so everybody knows that you get Little Arnies through the box and you can do an Easter egg to upgrade them. Well, originally that wasn't the case. Originally, you were meant to do an Easter egg to get the Little Arnies, and it would have went something like this. Originally, when you spawn in on the map, there are going to be Keeper Jars randomly around the map in each district. And then once you obtained the Keeper Jar, you would have had to complete some sort of task or objective to get the Magic Keeper Jar. And then once you have done that, you get one chance per round to capture a Little Arnie. It would have went something like this. The district would have been chosen at random, and there would have been 2 points within said district chosen at random. And once those locations have been chosen, a unique audio file will play for a short period as the player gets near it. And then you would have seen a Little Arnie dashing and scurrying as said by the developers, and all you would have had to do to capture would have been to get into close proximity of it and then interact with it to put it in the jar. Now this sounds really cool and everything, but you would have only had one use. Once you would have thrown it, the jar would have broke and the Little Arnie would have escaped, and to use it again, you would have had to go to the next round and capture a Little Arnie again. And that just sounds like a huge pain in the ass, and I'm kind of glad they cut that. I much prefer the Monkey Bomb style Little Arnies than this. Also another cut Easter egg was the chicken Easter egg. Now this has been known for quite some time, but in Revelations there was going to be a quote-unquote chicken bait Easter egg. This would have been a very similar Easter egg to the spider bait in Zetsubo no Shimo. We even have the HUD icon and some cut audio which was found in the Revelations files. Now those files are very similar to the ones from Dead Ops, but were also specifically put in the Revelations files. So it appears this Easter egg would have been a mixture between the spider bait from Zetsubo no Shima and the actual chicken that you play as in Dead Ops Arcade. Why this was cut, we will never know, but I think it would have been pretty funny to run around the map as a chicken. Whether you're a big chicken or a small chicken, it still would have been pretty damn funny. Now, Shadows of Evil had a couple things at launch that I think were very quickly patched out, so technically this is going to be cut content. Originally, Shadows of Evil, I think I remember this too, was going to be a little bit harder. Zombies were going to start to run and sprint at round 2 instead of like, what is it, 5 now? And also, I very faintly remember this, but I'm pretty sure this was a thing before they patched it. All the Margwa's mouths could be open at once. So as we know Margwa's now, only one mouth is open at a time. But originally, I believe that more than one could be open at a time, but they very quickly patched that out. And also, I thought I was going crazy when I saw this. Originally, there were like custom max ammo symbols that would appear when you got drops, and I could have swore for the longest time, like Mandela effect, that this was a thing, but I just never saw it ever again, so I just didn't think much of it. But as I was doing this video, I found this stuff, and I was like, yeah, I do remember that when Shadows of Evil launched, but for some reason they took it out. Now, I'm pretty sure all this was originally in the game. Now, I could just be going crazy, but I'm more than positive this was all available at launch, but very quickly patched out. Another thing that was at launch but eventually patched out was the original way the Gobblegum machine worked. Originally, there was only going to be one active machine around the map and it would switch locations like the mystery box. But as of the March 21st, 2016 update, the Gobblegum machine is going to be everywhere and activated at all times. Heading back to Revelations, we also have some cut announcer quotes from Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man.
Carpenter, double points, fire sale. Insta-kill. Minigun. Kaboom. Max ammo. Bonus points.
Fire sale. Insta-kill. Minigun. Kaboom. Max ammo. Bonus points. Carpenter. Double points.
Now, there are tons of rumors about a mega Easter egg and everything like that, and an alternate ending in Revelations, and I couldn't really find any actual good evidence to support any of that, so we really can only speculate on how these announcer quotes would have played out. Another pretty cool thing was a cut camo that says "Now you see me, now you don't" all over it, and this camo honestly I think would have been very similar to some of the camos that we saw in like Black Ops 4 with how they like move all over the gun and everything, but unfortunately we never got to see this camo. Another thing that I found while snooping around was originally Galvaknuckles were supposed to appear on Der Eisendrache, but for some reason were cut. And I think that's a damn shame. Imagine using Galvaknuckles against the Panzer when they spawn and it being like a one hit. That would have been pretty badass. But now that I'm thinking about it, it also would have made the plunger like irrelevant. So maybe it's a good reason they did take it out. And also, as I was searching around for pre-alpha builds of all the maps, I found tons of pre-alpha images of all the maps. And honestly, really the biggest takeaway that I could get from looking through all these images is that Treyarch really played around with where exactly they wanted all the perks and all the mystery box locations to go. They had a general idea of where they wanted these to go, but looking through a lot of these images, you can see that they were definitely playing around and putting the perk machines in totally different places. And I mean, you could spend all day talking about these pre-alphas and all the minor things that they changed, but I really didn't see anything too big or too glaring that they happened to change. Also in Shadows of Evil, there was a bunch of dialogue, which I don't think was ever actually used in the game, of all of the characters sounding a lot like zombies and making a lot of zombie sounds. In Revelations, there are some scripts that relate to a rocket panel and repairing the rocket, and also pack-a-punching the summoning key and putting the summoning key in the rocket. So maybe there was a whole unused side quest where you could upgrade the summoning key, or maybe originally there were a couple extra steps to the main Easter egg, but they decided to cut it out. We might have had a whole new area from Der Eisendrache, or maybe the Ascension rocket, or maybe it was the rocket from the Kino der Toten Pack-a-Punch area. The only thing we really have going for us is this right here, and other than that, we really don't know much. Now, there's also a couple things that I missed in Black Ops 1. I know, shocking, right? I wrote down somewhere that there was a cut trap on Ascension, but I could not for the life of me find the evidence. I had the link somewhere and then I lost it. But apparently there was a cut trap on Ascension. I couldn't find much more information about it, but there was a cut trap somewhere on Ascension. Also, 5's cutscene was originally going to be a little bit longer, and Rizzo actually made a very good video compiling all the audios and adding his own video. So the video itself is not actual cut content, just the audio, but he added the video to make it much more enjoyable and watchable. So here you go.
I said are certain to miss the future.
Coño, I missed that.
Prime Minister Castro, this missile crisis was the last straw. We almost blew ourselves up. Now, we invited you here today...
In good faith.
In good faith. To sort this thing out.
And why is he here? He lost.
As I always say, forgive your enemies, but remember their names.
What was that?
Just a storm, Dick. Sit down. Now, gentlemen, as I like to think, in the long history of the world, there are only a few generations that are granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it.
Sounds like someone breaking in! Oh my God!
It appears the Pentagon has been breached. We are under attack by legions of the undead.
Zombies. Gentlemen, at times like these, our capacity for retaliation must be and has to be massive to deter all forms of aggression.
No! Glorioso!
Gentlemen, lock and load.
Viva la revolución.
Any last words, Mr. President?
Yes, Jack. Any superlative words of inspiration for our humble troops?
Do not pray for easy lives, my friends. Pray to be stronger men.
Also, allegedly on Moon, couldn't really find much evidence besides people saying it, there was going to be a fire trap in the biodome, and also there would have been more excavators and more ways to control them and play around with them. That one would have been a lot better. I wish there was more ways to control the excavators and use them and stop them from going to certain tunnels, but you get what you get. Also in Moon, it seems like the Zap Gun / Wave Gun would have had a different color scheme. It seems like it would have been more green. Going by this old school Resurrection trailer from way back in the day, they might have definitely been playing around with the whole color scheme before we got the red and blue one that we know now today. So that is going to be the video. I really couldn't find too much about Black Ops 3. If you happen to know of any more information about Black Ops 3 that was cut, please let me know down there below in the comments. And that is where I'm going to call it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. And that's it. Peace.